The Evolution of a Bad Boy, written by Susanna Thompson, narrated by Sarah Sampino. Chapter 4. The news about Dylan and Celeste dating spread like wildfire through the school. They were such an unlikely couple that even people who didn't normally care about who was dating whom commented on it. Celeste's friends were completely shocked. She had dated Andrew, a nice boy that you could bring home to your parents. Now, she was with Dylan, a wild boy that parents wouldn't want anywhere near their daughters. How could she explain this to her friends? She realized that she hadn't thought this through when she impulsively made the bet with Dylan. Celeste thought about calling off the bet, but she didn't want him to think that she was afraid of succumbing to his seduction. She wanted to prove to him that he couldn't have every girl. Besides wanting to keep him away from Melissa, there was also another reason that Celeste had told Dylan to pretend she was his girlfriend. She had denied the rumors about herself, and nobody but her friends had believed her. Even her boyfriend had broken up with her because he didn't believe her. Celeste was still angry about the whole thing and was now recklessly egging them on. If they wanted to believe the worst of her, then she would really give them something to talk about. Anyway, she was sure that this would be over soon. Dylan probably wouldn't last longer than a week without sex. "He's much nicer than you think," Celeste said. "We started talking, and he asked me out." That was a lame explanation, but her friends were hanging on her every word. They were just as curious about this odd pairing as everyone else. "He's so hot!" Lily exclaimed. So much for trying to convince them that she had been won over by his personality, Celeste thought wryly. She couldn't deny what Lily had said. Dylan was extremely attractive, with his lean but not too skinny body and his dark, good looks. It was more than what he looked like, however, that made him so hot. There was something magnetic about him. Everything from the sound of his voice to the way he moved was sexy. He had an intense sensuality that was hard to ignore. Celeste was going to do just that, because she was a person who wasn't easily distracted from her goals. Also, the only time that sex was on her mind was when someone else mentioned it. It didn't appeal to her, because it seemed nasty and messy. She wanted to put it off as long as possible, and this had become a problem with Andrew after a few months of dating. It had put a strain on their relationship even before the incident at the party a couple of months ago. Celeste knew that Andrew had broken up with her not only because he believed that she had cheated on him, but also because he thought she had given another guy what she had denied him. It made her furious to know that he thought she would give it up in one night to a random guy after saying no to her boyfriend for 8 months. Her friend Olivia was more concerned about her decision to go out with Dylan than Lily was. Just because stupid people spread a rumor about you doesn't mean that you have to completely trash your reputation. People will believe what they want to believe anyway. I'm not going to worry about what they think anymore. Celeste had been feeling restless and bored with her usual routine, which was why she had gone to that disastrous party in the first place. She had wanted to do something different. Unfortunately, her first drink had led to many more, and she had lost herself in an alcoholic haze. "Has he kissed you yet?" Lily asked. "No, we just started dating." Celeste wondered what her friends would think if they knew about her bet with Dylan. She was going to wait until he lost to tell them about it. It would be amusing to see how long he held out. "I hope you know what you're doing," Olivia commented. Celeste knew exactly what she was doing. She was going to give Dylan a much-needed reality check. He thought he had seduced all those girls, but Celeste had gotten a different impression from Kayla this morning. The girl had straight out offered to have sex with him this weekend. These girls were already looking for sex, and Dylan just happened to provide them with it. He didn't have superior seduction skills, only access to a lot of horny girls. The guy was in for a rude awakening if he thought it would be that easy to get into her pants. She wasn't even planning to kiss him. Celeste had never been one for PDA, and there was no reason to kiss him in private since they weren't really dating. Dylan, of course, had no problem with PDA. She had once seen him kiss 3 girls at school in one day. They weren't just brief pecks on the lips either, but passionate, open-mouthed kisses. No wonder they called it sucking face. After witnessing that, Celeste had been even more against it. She didn't want anyone watching her do that. Dylan had a different opinion, and he came up behind her and wrapped his arms around her waist as she was getting her backpack out of her locker after school. "Hey, girlfriend," he breathed against her neck, sending an involuntary shiver through her. It made her drop her backpack, which was fortunately still empty. "You scared me," she lied. "That's not fear, Celeste. Do you think I don't know the difference?" He spoke against her neck again, and another shiver went through her. "Stop that," she said. "You can't be doing this in public." "Doing what, Celeste? Turning you on? We can go somewhere private." His warm breath on her neck had made goosebumps pop out all over her arms. The intimate way he kept repeating her name wasn't helping the situation. She pulled his hands away from her waist, and he let her go, only to grab her shoulders and turn her around to face him. "I had no idea you'd be so responsive, Celeste. I've hardly even touched you yet." She couldn't seem to look away from his dark eyes. His voice was almost hypnotic as he said these things that shouldn't be making heat spread through her whole body. He leaned closer until she could feel his breath on her lips as he spoke. "Do you know how hot that is?" The sound of the locker door next to her being opened jolted Celeste from Dylan's spell. She pushed him away from her and saw a red-faced Melissa standing there. Sorry," she stuttered. "I have to catch my bus." She began quickly stuffing books into her backpack. Celeste was too busy trying to calm her breathing to answer. Dylan's intense gaze never wavered from Celeste as he spoke to Melissa. "It's okay. We need to continue this in private anyway." Celeste found her voice. "I have a meeting." A seductive smile played over his lips. "That's what I just said." "A student council meeting," she supplied as Melissa closed her locker and hurried away. He saw right through her lie. "Now you're scared. I told you that I know the difference." She clung to her story. "No, I really do have a meeting." "Okay, Celeste. Have fun at your meeting. I'll see you tomorrow, girlfriend." He winked at her before striding away. She waited until he was gone before she turned to pick up her backpack and take the books she needed. Her thoughts turned to wildfires and how they could flare up all of a sudden and blaze out of control. Something unexpected had happened to her with Dylan before Melissa had interrupted them. Celeste couldn't let that happen again. She had to put out the spark before it burned her.